Aura or Bark? Which one's the best at protecting my kids online? Which one of these two has an easier setup that's going to allow you to spend more time with your family? Which one of these has screen time scheduling features that actually make sense for the life that you're living with your children? These are just some of the questions that we'll be answering as we explore the many differences between Aura and Bark parental controls. Both of these products are good, although they do have their differences. At Home Security Heroes, we have tested each of these products extensively across different devices, different operating systems, in different parenting situations, and in different day-to-day scenarios. By the end of this video, you'll know which of these two parental controls works best for you and your unique family situation, and I'll also help you out with a discount code so that you can try one or both of these softwares for less money than your middle schooler spends on Fortnite V-Bucks. Starting with content filtering. Content filtering is arguably the crux of any parental controls. It's why you invest in this sort of software. Great parental control software ensures that your children see only age-appropriate content. On the face of it, in this area, Aura and Bark both seem similar. They both come with long lists of content categories that parents can choose to block. And both of these services do allow you to block, not just at the category level, but of course at the website level as well, which is something you're going to want if you're looking into parental control software. So if your daughter already has an Amazon habit using your credit card, no doubt, well, you can block Amazon. However, during our testing, we did run into an issue with Bark. And that's because rather than block the content we expected it would on YouTube, Bark simply sent us a notification, basically saying that our child had seen something deemed too mature for their age. Aura, on the other hand, worked as expected and blocked everything that we thought it would. So far, I like Aura more for content, but as we move into screen time scheduling, I think Bark wins here. Here's why. With Aura, you can set a specific number of hours for certain activities. So you could allow 2 hours for entertainment sites, 4 hours for educational sites, 14 hours daily for TikTok. Just kidding, don't do that. But you can't dictate which hours those are, when to allocate. And so because you can't choose when to allot these hours, it means that your child could, for instance, use their entertainment hours to watch YouTube videos during math class. Not ideal. I should also note that Aura recently acquired the parental control software Circle, so if you've been looking in the Circle, if you've searched for some variation, maybe Aura over Circle, know that Aura is essentially Circle. They are more or less the same product. When it comes to screen time scheduling, Bark is going to give you much more control. You can set daily routines and create rule sets within those routines. So you can set your kids' devices to function under school rules and then to operate differently under home rules. One slight downside to Bark here is you can't actually turn off the internet completely using the application, whereas you can do that with Aura. Something to keep in mind for those of you looking for an internet kill switch. With Bark, you can severely restrict the internet. You could create, say, a bedtime rule set, but even under that, your child would still have some access to the internet. Aura, as mentioned, allows you to pause the internet entirely with one click. When it comes to usage analysis, I would say for me personally, Aura wins out over Bark, but I'll admit part of this does come down to personal parenting philosophy. And remember, Bark is sort of an internet guardian, but it is designed to preserve your child's independence, so it's generally not going to give you as much detail as other parental control softwares are. So for example, with Bark, you will not see your child's internet search history. Instead, what Bark offers you is essentially a promise to identify anything that they deem harmful. Anything of concern, really. So that would be anything that promotes self-harm, any bullying, any violence or overly adult conversations. Those would all be flagged by Bark. That works well for older children, children who are perhaps not too far from leaving the nest, but for younger children, I think you'd probably want more detailed reporting. And I'll say that Aura also doesn't offer like a spyware level of detail when it comes to your child's internet usage, but it does offer more detail than Bark. With Aura, it's easy to see how long your child spent online, what apps they used or attempted to use, and whether they attempted to view a blocked site. Now let's talk about installation and ease of use with both of these softwares. You want something that's easy, right? You don't want to waste half of a Saturday trying to get one of these things set up on multiple devices. So you want it to be easy to use for yourself personally as a parent, but you don't want it to be too easy for your child to use, because if it's too easy for them to use, then they could essentially get around it, right? They could disable the app. Happily, both Aura and Bark are relatively easy to install, certainly easier to install than other apps that we've trialed, but Bark is unfortunately kind of easy to get around. So to get around Bark, all a savvy kid would need to do is download Brave or another privacy-focused internet browser, and then they can essentially access the open internet. So I also have a preference for Aura over Bark when it comes to customer support. Bark has a highly automated customer support setup, which means it can be difficult to get in touch with a real-life human. We test this in a number of ways. If there's a number, we call it, sometimes repeatedly. If it's just an email address or a support portal, then we'll submit tickets. Sometimes we'll spam a bunch just to see, one, how quickly the questions are answered, and then the degree to which they're answered satisfactorily. And with Bark, we found that our customer support tickets did get back pretty canned email responses, so it's something to consider. Again, the hope in getting the software is that it's really set and forget, maybe make a few adjustments on a weekly or monthly basis, but in general, it's not a support heavy software. You shouldn't need to be contacting customer support all that much, but it's nice to know that if you need to, the company behind the software is going to be very responsive. And I'd say with Bark, that's not so much the case. With Aura, that definitely is. They've got a number, I'll flash it on the screen here. You can call them at any time, 24/7, and talk to a real person, which I personally appreciate. Another distinction to make here is in the realm of digital security. So remember that Bark is really a standalone parental control software. It's built for a specific problem, and it solves that problem relatively well. Aura, on the other hand, is a much more comprehensive suite of digital security tools that includes parental controls, but it's not limited to that. With Aura, you also get insurance against identity theft, you get credit monitoring, dark web alerts, data broker opt-outs, VPN, password manager, basically a whole suite of tools that can be used to better protect you and your family. And so I'd say ultimately that's what this buying decision should come down to. If you have older children, say 13, 14 and up, and you do want to give them some independence, you do want to give them that space, and you don't need a highly granular view in their lives, then Bark is a really good option for those parents of you who fall into that category. If on the other hand, you have younger children and you're looking for parental controls that block, not just monitor, but certain apps, certain websites, then definitely consider Aura, especially if you've been considering other things like a VPN, credit monitoring, stuff like that, then yeah, just go with Aura and get all of that in one package. So the answer as to whether Aura or Bark is going to be a better software for you, it's really going to depend on you, your specific situation. They're both very good options. And remember, you can claim discounts by checking in the video description below. Thank you so much for watching. Happy parenting, and I'll see you in this next video here. Cheers.